Okay, guys, it's Tregs here, and I hope you are all doing great. So, I wanted to talk today a little bit about why most guys are failing when they change their diet around. Okay, this is a really interesting one, and the kind of like what to know and how to kind of navigate the kind of initial period of like what I would call like the pain, because sometimes it's in the transition where the pain is. So it's really important to know, what you're going to experience and how to kind of ride that out. So, I'm kind of going down this tip because, it is just after the kind of Easter bank holiday, and there's a lot of people that have, maybe treated the Easter. I said this yesterday, the Easter bank holiday is very much like Christmas in a sense, in the fact that, I know there's a bit more of a build-up in December, essentially. You've got your Christmas nights out. But if you actually think about it, you've got like maybe Christmas Eve. This is an example. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and maybe like the 27th. You have a good go, don't you? I think I had a good go Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then I was done out there on Boxing Day. But anyway, that's another story. So a lot of people now trying to get back on it, after the Easter period, and that's all good. And some people will try and go too drastically kind of the other way, all right, when they start a diet. So let's say, for example, someone sat there on the Monday, Easter Monday, they know the next day, they're going to get back to it. And so what they tend to do is they go, right, I'm going to eat all the chocolate, drink all the beer, and then I'm going to get back on it the next day. So they've had a higher calorie day, less nourishing food. They might wake up with a little bit of a sugar hangover or a carb sort of an alcohol hangover, and then they try and do this, whatever it is they're going to do. Most will reduce carbohydrates. Most will try and maybe switch to, a higher protein diet, etc., etc. And what they find is like shit, man, this is really hard. Like, this is really hard. And like quite often within like 48 hours, they're reverting back to type. And you have to understand that like your taste receptors, your taste buds are so primed for the food that you've been overeating in abundance. So again, we go back to Christmas when most people try and get back on it. They find it so hard because they've been like off the rails for an entire month, and it's really hard. So some things that you need to know and you need to understand is that when you kind of switch over to what I tend to recommend is, as you know, anyone that follows me is I'm a big fan of tracking calories in, calories out. You can use the free app, MyFitnessPal. You don't have to use the premium version. I loosely track. Some days I fill it all out. Some days I just kind of know my numbers because I've been doing it so long. But what comes with that is that I still recommend that like 80% of the calories that you take in should be from highly nutritious food. So, good quality sources of protein, good carbohydrates, lots of vegetables, etc., etc. But quite often when we kind of switch to this healthier way of eating, our body is like, it's still craving the sugar, the alcohol, etc., etc. A lot of people experience this after Christmas and Easter, is that they're like, no, I'm being good again now. I'm being good again now. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna be good now. And then they're finding it doubly as hard. And they're like, oh my God, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Well, understand that your body is, your taste receptors are just craving the drunk. I said this right after Christmas. Like, it was getting to about 11 a.m. and my body's going to me. Like, I could feel my tummy sort of saying to me, Tregs, where's the cheese? Where's the cheese, fam? And it was like 11 a.m. That's because I've just been giving it cheese at fucking 11 a.m. for a couple of weeks. So you're going to get some kind of like strange kind of hunger pangs. You almost have some withdrawals because you're going to be craving this food, right? But so what we need to know is we need to get hydrated. Hydration is the absolute foundation, along with sleep. What's this got to do with nutrition? It's got everything to do with nutrition, because sleep and hydration are the foundation. Great chat last night with Danny Wilson coaching. That's now uploaded onto my YouTube, as this will be. Go check it out. And we spoke about why sleep is so important from an adherence perspective. I can tell you this is what you need to do, but if your adherence is low because you've had a shit night's sleep and you're dehydrated, you know, all bets are off. Just let me just paint this picture for you, right? You've woken up after Easter, you've nailed all the eggs, you've drank all the beer, you know, you're like, fucking please don't take me home. You know, you've got to go back to work and all that, when all you want to do is just sit around eating eggs and drinking beer. And then all of a sudden you're trying to dial it back in, but you've had a shit night's sleep on the Monday. And you get up and you're not hydrated. You told all your friends, I'm doing this, I'm going to do this. But it's so hard because you're not hydrated and you had a crap night's sleep. So you have to get the sleep right. You have to be hydrated. So, excuse me, with that, I'll have a sip of my sparkling water with lime. So get hydrated. Now, this may hurt at first, okay? But when you switch back to a higher protein diet, and you lower your carbs, which is one way you can lose weight. You don't have to, but you reduce the amount of kind of like sugars and junk you've been eating over the Easter period. You know, you will probably feel a little bit hungry. That can be negated by good sleep and hydration, as we've already said. But here's the thing. Okay, you got to do this. This is the quickest fix to get you back on track. You got to get back to starting the day whenever you break your fast with a higher protein breakfast, okay? And that is where I'm a massive fan of the protein smoothie. Now, this is not the only way, but this is a way I recommend to my inner circle clients that pay me well because it's a quick and easy solution. Some people might say, oh, what about real food? Great, yeah. Make yourself some scrambled eggs or whatever it is. Break your fast with a high protein meal, okay? Because what that's going to do, not necessarily straight away, is it's going to kind of flip the switch and it's going to make you feel fuller for longer. Although on day one, that might not be the case, okay? Because you've had an onslaught of junk, and I don't like the word junk, higher calorie food, lots of sugars the day before, okay? So this takes time. But here's the good news. A lot of people think that, you know, it's just junk food that tastes so good. It's higher calorie, the hyper palatable, the chocolate, all that kind of stuff. Healthy food tastes better. It's just that your taste buds and your taste receptors aren't always kind of like, you know, primed for it. You've got to give this a good 5 to 7 days of getting back to eating this way for your taste to almost change, and it will. But this is why people quit, because they go, right, I've been doing that for 4 days. Now I'm going to do this. I've had a shit night's sleep. I haven't drank any water. So I'm already, my adherence is low. And I'm not prepared for the hunger pangs and the kind of like, almost like that kind of withdrawal from giving yourself what you've been wanting over, what you've, you know, given yourself permission to over the last 4 days. And then they're like, oh, this is too hard. And then they quit. So understand this. Sleep, hydration, key. Switching back to a higher protein diet, okay? And if you adhere to this all the way, you know, through that initial, what I call that tough period, then it becomes easy. I'm guilty of this myself, right? I've not been having a protein smoothie recently in the mornings. And I've found myself like going to Starbucks, getting a coffee, getting an egg sandwich, which is fine because it's got protein in there, but it's carbohydrates. And then I might get like some peach overnight oats. And it's all good because it's within my calories and I know exactly how many calories it is. It works out about 750 for the sandwich and the overnight oats. But now I'm hungry again quite soon afterwards. And this was the case yesterday. So I could have made a protein smoothie. My missus was having a massive sort out at home. The last thing she needed me was to get the blender out, start banging in the ice, the berries, the protein powder, etc. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. I'll get a coffee on the way. This is slightly going off topic, but my one vice is I'm terrible for things like Starbucks and that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't really go out. We don't go out like boozing or for meals and stuff like that. So that's my thing. That's my thing. Like, that's where my money goes, really. Starbucks and, you know, Costa and things like that. I'm terrible for it. I'm terrible, and I know I am. But that's my vice, okay? So sue me. But I went there and I got an egg sandwich, peach overnight oats, and then 750 calories. But then I'm like, I'm sniffing around for more. Like 2 hours later, I'm sniffing around. I'm like, and it's because I've started the day with a higher carbohydrate meal. It's making me want more later. Now, there's nothing wrong with carbohydrate. We know that. But if we're trying to get back on track after Easter and you've all been consuming loads of Easter eggs, one of the ways you can get back to it is to switch back to higher protein. And I actually went to bed kicking myself last night because I'd gone over my calories quite late and I'd had a healthy meal, but it was all because I'd started the day with a higher carbohydrate breakfast, which made me want to eat more during the day. Now, I'm telling you this on my life, right? My kids' life as well. When I start the day with a protein smoothie or a high protein breakfast, and for me, it's the smoothie. The smoothie wins because it's easy. I can, after this now, I'm going into the gym for 10:30. I'm training with a client and I'm going to make a smoothie for afterwards. So I'm going to have 3 scoops of protein powder in a blender with some ice. That's going to give me 60 grams of protein. I might chuck a banana in there for some carbs as I'm training. And it's going to be about 300 calories, okay? But what that will do, when I consume that at midday, no word of a lie, that will keep me happy all the way up to tonight. That will keep me full. That big hit of protein will, and obviously there's water in there, so I'm hydrated. That's going to keep me full all the way through to tonight. So that means, and I've been doing this, but I've stopped doing it. And this is why I'm telling you how important it is. Because sometimes we stop doing things and we're like, why am I getting a result? Oh, I fucking stopped doing that. Because we and I'll come on to the sort of habit thing in a second, but that will ensure I get home tonight only having consumed about 600 calories, about 400 or 500 calories. And then I've got like, you know, if I'm working off 2,000 calories a day at the minute, I've got loads of calories to play with tonight, okay? So here's a thing, right? Like I said, sometimes we can stop doing certain good habits because we don't necessarily see the result immediately from them. We might be getting the result, but the slow pace of transformation, as James Clear says, it makes good habits easy to slide. Let me just sip this. So when I was doing a protein smoothie consistently every day, that was keeping me full. That was keeping me full. I chuck a banana in there as well, so it ends up being 400 calories. But that massive hit of protein was keeping me full. Keep me full all the way till I come home, have my evening meal, and I'm going to bed in a deficit every day. I've stopped doing that recently. In fact, I posted in my Inner Circle group last night, I'm a bit off with my nutrition at the minute. Can't put my finger on it. And then I put my finger on it when I went to bed last night. Because I couldn't think about the football because my team got stuffed. So I was thinking, that's what it is. Now, that is one simple habit that I've built into my life, which will help get me leaner when I'm trying to get leaner, because I'll always pretty much skip breakfast apart from a coffee till about, say, 11 or 12, although breakfast is essentially to break a fast. But then I've been having more carbohydrates for breakfast. Nothing wrong with them, just makes me want to carry on eating. Let me know if this makes sense, guys. Okay, good to see everyone coming on. Just going to have a sip of this, okay? Do you guys have a higher protein breakfast or do you have a higher carbohydrate breakfast? Let me know. Now, of course, you don't have to go for a protein smoothie, but it's just a very convenient way for me. You don't have to have protein powder. I get a lot of guys come into the group and say, what's this with the protein powder with a protein smoothie? Do I need to do it? And I'm like, well, no, not really. I mean, real food works every time, but from a convenience. Like, I like the fact I can put my protein powder in a blender, do my smoothie, and then I'll use enough water and ice so I've got 2 shakes. So I feel like I'm getting 2 big shakes for the price of one. 300 calories, 400 calories if I stick a banana in there, and I can take them to work. I can sip on them in the car. I don't have to stop off. I don't have to physically, eat it. I can just sip it post-workout as well. It tastes nice when maybe I wouldn't have like a sweet potato or a chicken breast to hand, or I'm going to train a client. Like as a PT, if I stood there with a client eating a fucking sweet potato, chicken breast and broccoli as they're warming up, they're going to go, and there's all been times where we've had to do that. But if I just sip a shake, they're not going to think twice, okay? Mark Smith says, 3 scoops whey, 1 scoop frozen blueberries. Yeah, love it. So my missus will pick up frozen berries from like Aldi or Lidl, keep them in the fridge, whack them in. It's happy days. And I stopped doing that. But from today, I'm going to start doing that again, because I've been going like, why have I been, probably been eating like 2-5 a day. And I'm trying to, eat 2,000 a day. You know, summer's coming and all that jazz, and I'm like, why is this happening? I was so dialed in, and that is it. And like James Clear says, that slow pace of transformation makes good habits easy to slide. That was a good habit I just let slide. Okay, so sort of without going too far off topic, getting back to why most guys are failing this week is because they're not giving it a chance. They're not understanding that their taste receptors will change. Have you ever, like, you know, like when you're on it and you're in it and you're like, you're dialed in with your nutrition, you're dialed in with your hydration, you're dialed in with everything. You're like, this is easy. I'm going to get so fucking lean. This is so easy. Why haven't I done this before? You know, when you're in that place, we've all in that place, and it's just like, it's easy. It's easy. Just like, it's easy. I'm going to be a cover model. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, you're just like, you're out of it. And you're like, what happened there? Why is it so hard? Like, I've been like, over the last week or 2 weeks, why is it been so hard? Why has it been so hard? And I noticed I just let one or two habits just slide because you know, it's actually very easy just to go, yeah, I'll go to Starbucks, I'll get an egg sandwich or something like that. It's very easy to, and then all of a sudden you're wondering why you're overeating more and you're not being able to adhere to your calories. So my advice for anyone getting back on it this week, wanting to get back in a deficit, wanting to get their energy up, is to try and switch back to a higher protein diet. Try and switch back to that, okay? Doesn't mean you can't have carbohydrates, but try and meal that day, if you can get some protein in you, first meal a day, that is going to keep you satiated. Like everyone says is, you know, protein for muscle building, all that. I'm like, yeah, forget that a second. Understand, if you want to lose weight, it's a game of managing your hunger. That's all it is. You know, because when you're trying to lose weight, you're giving your body less calories than it needs. So, because then it will give up stored fat for energy. Okay? So there's going to be times where you're a little bit hungry. We don't want to be hangry, because that's when willpower is going to be tested massively. And there'll be a lot of people right now after Easter going, right, I need to, I need to just do like a massive, crazy long fast. And hey, I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. Massive fan. Intermittent fasting is easier. So easy when you're already in sync with healthy habits. So you want to do a 24-hour fast, but you've been boozing all weekend, eating chocolate, having shit sleep, not hydrating. That 24-hour intermittent fast is going to be fucking hard. Really hard. Okay? But if you decide to do a 24-hour fast, but your diet is dialed in, your sleep's good, your hydration is good, your protein's good, you're eating lots of veggies, you're just dialed in. It's what I call like layering it. You just add in a layer to the level of dialed in you are. Like, I know in the past doing 24-hour, 36-hour fasts, sometimes the wheels have come off if I've tried to do them and my lifestyle hasn't been so great. I've kind of done them as a kind of quick fix. I've been boozing all weekend, I'll just do a quick fix intermittent fast and then the wheels come off. I've seen people do this. I've seen people who have they've got an event coming up, they've been boozing, they've been eating crap, and they're like, I know, I'll do like a 4-day fast or a 3-day fast. And then 2 days in, they're ending up in the chippy. So a 24-hour fast, a 36-hour fast, all those things, you don't really have to do them, but all those things are easier done when you're treating your body well. Okay, your body, your hunger levels are kind of like, you're like, yeah, I'm not hungry, man. I'm just feeling really good. My sleep's good, my hydration's good. I've got a high protein diet. It's good. This is really, I can just do this. I've done some 24-hour fasts where it's just like, that's a fucking breeze, man. And then some days I'm like, I'm going to do a 24-hour fast today. Like by fucking midday, I'm like, no, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? So getting back to basics this week, guys, all right? Win your appetite over, okay? Let's switch those taste buds back to enjoying good quality nutrients, all right? Get hydrated, plenty of veggies on the plate. Skipping breakfast is one way to put you back in a deficit. That only has to be till midday, 1 o'clock. It's not that hard. You could then break that with a protein smoothie and then just have a meal of veggies and protein in the evening, and you'll be fine. Ian says, I make the intermittent fasting a routine now. 20 hours every day for the last 3 years. Works for me, each to their own. Brilliant. That's brilliant. So you've made it a habit. You know, I don't want this video to be about intermittent fasting. I am a fan, by the way. I'm a fan of intermittent fasting, but and I've, you know, I've put this in my book, which is available on Amazon. Keep on moving. Thanks to everyone that's like when I first discovered intermittent fasting, it was more of a kind of like a woo-woo approach. I read a few books and I was like, oh, cool, like intermittent fasting, yeah, it's good for this, this, this. And then, you know, hormones and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, hang on, how much is this really applicable? Let's just look at the black and whites of this, what we can control. So intermittent fasting is essentially skipping a meal, which then therefore helps you maintain a calorie deficit. That's what it is. That's what it is. Now, if you want to go, oh yeah, but it helps with autophagy, immune system, and all that, that's fine. That's fine. That's not my bag here. I've spoken about that in the past, but I'd be a liar if I said I knew if all that was true. What I can tell you is intermittent fasting will help you go into a calorie deficit. Simple as that. But it's skipping a meal. So it means, like, for people like me that are greedy fuckers who can eat big 3 meals a day and then probably not be in a calorie deficit, if I skip breakfast, it allows me to have more calories in the evening and afternoon and evening when I prefer to eat, and it can help me. That's a big tool. Like, you know, I've said this time and time again. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, Tregs, you can't eat before 1 o'clock every day for the rest of your life, otherwise you'll just drop down dead, I'll be like, that's cool, I could do that. But if you said you can't eat after 4 p.m. every day, I'd be flapping because it would affect my sleep. Yeah, man, protein smoothie for the win, Craig. I mean, I said it's like, it doesn't have to be. People say, oh yeah, but you should get real food. Cool. Have whatever. Like, as long as it's high protein, man, I would just like, because that's gonna make sure, you know, I said this before. I remember about 2019, pre-pandemic, I was based at a gym, and the coffee guy come round every morning. So we'd all go out, we'd get our coffees, bit of banter and all that. And he did these bagels, smoked salmon and cream cheese bagels, right? Lovely. 400 calories, lovely. Big old bagel, loads of cream cheese, nice bit of salmon, happy days. And quite often I'd be going out there and I'd had an early shift. So I was tired. I don't do any earlies anymore. 15 years in the game, I don't do any earlies anymore. I just don't do it. I don't want anything to affect my sleep. So I wake up with the kids now. That's a rule. But I'd go out and I'd like get a bagel, be like, okay, cool. I'd go in and I'd eat it. Like literally within eating it, I want another one. So I'd like wait and see if all the lads are gone so I don't get any stick. You know, it's like 10 PTs. They'd be like, you fat bastard, what you doing? You're having 2. So I was like, right, okay, I'll go back out, get another one. Now you've eaten 800 calories of fucking bagel and it's 9:30. Now you're struggling for the rest of the day and I've eaten carbohydrates and now I'm like, because I'm tired already, so maybe a bit more tired, and now I'm like, oh, it's going to be really hard. Then the college shop has got a fucking Subway in there, and then, you know, all bets are off. And I was kind of like, you know what I'm going to do? This is silly. Every time I eat one of these first thing in the morning, it just makes me tired and more hungry. Might not be the case for everyone. This is just my perspective. And so I was like, right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring some boiled eggs in. It's fucking boring, Tupperware life, all that. But I'll put a little bit of sweet chili sauce on them all, and some salt and pepper or something like that. And that's what I did. I started to replace... I was like, right, smoked salmon, cream cheese bagel, 400 calories. If I bring in 5 eggs, maybe 6. 6 is what? 70 calories, 420 calories. Higher protein breakfast, I'm going to do that. And that's what I did. I just start the day with eggs. This is before I was doing the shakes. And honestly, it's like, wow, it kept me full. It made me more satiated. Like, that's what protein does. It's hard to digest for the body, and it makes you more satiated. Give you an example. Okay, when was the last time you binged on bread? Now compare that to the last time you binged on chicken breasts. I already know the answer. It's very hard to overeat chicken breasts, trust me. I give you 3 chicken breasts, you would find that very hard to finish. Okay, you would find 3 chicken breasts very hard to finish. Let's say they're like 250 calories a breast. So 750 calories of good quality protein, you would find it very hard to finish 3 chicken breasts. If I give you 750 calories of toast and butter, you'd probably be wanting to get back and have another slice because carbohydrates are hyperpalatable. It just means you want to eat more. Okay, guys, so I'm going to finish off now. Thank you, everyone, for your time. We've got a new five-day challenge coming up, which kicks off Monday kicks off Monday. So if you like this information, you haven't done a challenge yet, it's a free challenge. Click the link to get involved. It is an entry into the door of my online world. This challenge is free. I do make you an offer at the end of the week to come and join us in our coaching program, but there's no obligation. So if you haven't done one yet and you want more education like this, then click the link to get involved. In the meantime, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Cheers, boys.